he's had dozens of research assistants over the years. And so I asked him, like, how did it not work out? And he sort of thought about it for a second and he started to say that, like, some of them couldn't grasp the spirit of his material. Some of them just didn't have a good eye for like story. And then he kind of like stopped and thought some more. He's like, but like the real problem is they couldn't sit with boredom. And he said it's a dividing line between success and failure is the ability to sit with boredom. And he's like, the writer's life is very boring. And the things I'm asking those people to do are very boring. And if you can't sit with that boredom, it's not gonna work out. And that's partially true, but also for Robert, it isn't boring to sit down with a biography, you know? Like he gets excited by that. And same with Ryan, like they get excited by what appears to be boring to a lot of people is actually very enjoyable for them. And I don't know how you would assess this in a person if there were a way to like quickly find out like can they do this tedious work and get some enjoyment out of it, then they'd probably be a good fit. The first thing I would maybe do is if I were looking for a research assistant, I would think like I get emails not all the time, but somewhat consistently of people just being, "Hey, I read this thing. It reminded me of this other thing you wrote about. I thought you would like it." And that's basically like the job of a research assistant is finding like interesting stories that resonate with the things that that person writes about. And I do this all the time
Right.
still with like I send Morgan stuff from time to time of like, "Hey, I read this story that like reminded me of your chapter in Psychology of Money." And it's a way to like I think they appreciate it, but it's also just a way to like continue to hone the craft of like looking for good stuff and to, like test it like does this person think this is good? Because it's been one of the like valuable things about working with Ryan is like through the process of sending him stuff that he rejects is how I've honed like my eye for what's good and what isn't. I would first think like I would and I can right now think of people who have sent me stuff like 2 or 3 times, be like they I would maybe reach out to them and be like, "Hey, I'm setting out on this project. Do you have any bandwidth to like go hunt some stuff for me?" And no one, I don't know, I don't think you'll ever see like an author that's like, "I'm hiring a research assistant," but everyone is like looking
Right.
for help, you know? So you can just like start doing that job. You don't have to like wait for a job application or something like. And I feel like if you did post about it, you would actually get a lot of the wrong people. You would get the people that like actually want just the reward of having a post do really well. And I've seen this like with people we've tried to bring on to help out with some of the stuff we do with Ryan's stuff. They have a misconception of what the job is because Ryan's output, he's always publishing. And if you're on the other side of that, you just think it's like what you see that gets published. But most of the work is not that.
Yeah.
And most of it is tedious and boring. So a lot of these people come in with this idea that like, oh, we're going to be like publishing these clips on YouTube and they're going to do millions of views. It's going to be awesome. But it's like, where do you think those ideas are coming from? It's like hours and hours
Right.
in like a biography that most of the time that you actually spend a lot of time that's like seems to be wasted because you don't find anything. And that can be very discouraging for people. So yeah, it's like the ability to sit with boredom and that ability to spend a lot of time that you don't know if it's going to pay off.